this is coming from Square Enix, and they are bringing over 2 Final Fantasy games. One is a trading card game. I believe it's Final Fantasy OSU or
well, Opus.
Opus, that's what it was.
But I think that's like the name of the first set, maybe.
Right.
There's 3 different sets, kind
There are
of.
deck boxes, and there's also packs.
And I think the first ones are based on
the elements.
7, but they're just specific games too, right? What are the elements?
What I saw was elements saying like one's like fire and I think fire and air, like ice and lightning and darkness and light or something.
You know, elements. Well, I know it's Final Fantasy 7, 10, and 13. And you're correct. Each one is also associated with one of those elements you just said. So that's a whole big thing. Trading card game, Final Fantasy, big deal. Which we'll talk about that more. The other thing is a Chocobo card game, which is not a trading card game.
No,
it's
this
a
is a standalone box.
Little cute Chocobos.
Yeah.
If you don't know Final Fantasy, it's an RPG. Now it's a
If you don't know Final Fantasy, then probably look into it.
It's weird that you're watching this.
Pretty big thing.
How'd you find us? Someone, just like an old
So
woman
what are your thoughts
pressed the
on
wrong
them,
key. And first of all, I don't know about Square Enix as the actual publisher and developer. They didn't mention any other companies. It's just Square Enix. So that's interesting from a video game perspective. I do wonder how well it will do here, because Final Fantasy is huge. But I feel it's not as huge as it once was.
No,
maybe in the public sphere.
We're they're both separate conversations.
Separate conversations.
Let's start with the trading card game. I've seen so many anime and video game card games come and go.
That's very
true. To me, this looks just like even like Force of Will. Like it sold really fast early on, and then I noticed it died down a bit. It seemed, and to me, like, if you're not, especially in the American place, a lot of the Japanese card games I feel, when I see them, are very wordy. Like half the card is a text box. And I don't think that really does well in an American marketplace. There will be people who buy it because they're fancy fight, and I'm sure they'll love it.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, wow. I'm mixing up my games. But so many people, like when you play Magic, you're used to just counter spell, +1/+1, or this. Like, you want a nice, simple text box, and I just don't think, I think it's probably a translation issue. Like, I'm guessing on their cards, because maybe the words, it's just like, oh, this is, but for us, it's a whole.
Well, you look at Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I think because they have the extra budget, they put the more effort into making it, translating it for American audiences, where I feel like Force of Will is more like, we know this is for a niche audience, we're targeting it towards them. We're not going to try to broaden that.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I guess I just seen so many other similar ships sail in and fail.
Yeah.
But the other one, on the other hand, very excited for.
The Chocobo game?
It's really cute, nice small game. Chocobo is something that even if you haven't played really any Final Fantasy, if you just know of it, you know the Chocobo. Mm-hmm. I think that's a much better idea. And I think that's where they should be going with Fantasy Flight. I think they should be a Final Fantasy. I'm going to keep making the mistake. I don't think they should be making a trading card game, though, even if it does well in Japan. I mean, I would love if everything did well everywhere, like we were talking before with everyone. Mm-hmm. But I also know certain things just won't fly in other places for whatever cultural reasons. But I think a board game or a standalone card game would be amazing. Like, I think they should try to license out either to Cryptozoic or Upper Deck, for either the deck building systems. I think those would be either of them would be solid choices. Mm-hmm. I think maybe a board game, especially mixing it with I forget the name of it. It was for the PSP. I think it's called Disgaea or something. It's like
Disgaea?
Yeah, it's like when they took pretty much all the main characters from every game, and it was sort of like Kingdom Hearts-ish, like thrown together, they're all fighting. Like a board game like that, like the same kind of story, and you choose which character from which game. I think that would really appeal to a lot of people, because then someone would be like, I'm Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Like, oh, well, I get to be like, I can't think of another. Like,
I get to be
Leon,
Titus from Final Fantasy X.
Of course, yes. But like, I think those would be much smarter choices. I think that'll appeal to the Western market much more. Whilst I don't think you're giving up.
Maybe a living card game.
That would be interesting. I'd like to see if they risk that. I don't know how that does. Once again, though, I'm saying this from a Western perspective. These ideas might not do well in Japan.
Right.
So it's definitely one of those things that it's up in the air. But I would love to see those. In particular, I think the deck building style would definitely be a very good choice because I definitely feel the ones that already exist are already appealing to the larger.
Anything with a huge cast of characters and abilities, it seems like it's a pretty easy translation in that department. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody out there who right now is saying, "Boy, I really want another trading card game." Like I think it's definitely an uphill battle, but they do have the name Final Fantasy, so they could find a market.
Right. But that being said, going back to the Chocobo one, I do think that's a smart move. I do think because that's the one thing they have done. I think I would say successfully. Is while their Final Fantasy games are very, very heavy, very serious, and sometimes very convoluted storylines, they have also done like very chibi and cute.
It has a very
and I think they should take advantage, and they're taking advantage of that, and I think it's a smart move.
It has a diverse fan, like it's not just like the hardcore gamer guys. Like I think there's a big female audience for Final Fantasy. It does have a broader appeal than some other properties.
No,
so
and that's why I think they could do it.
that.
And in particular, we can't mention this since even though we're saying Final Fantasy, this is Square Enix.
Right.
Which means technically, this includes Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
Which means Disney, and we all know Disney sells.
That'll be a thing, yeah.
So I think that's another thing they should maybe talk to Disney about. Like, look, I mean, we've made a lot of spin-off Kingdom Hearts games, and a lot of people are waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3. What if they actually took that?
And they already had a card game, kind of, in the video game version.
Right. No, but didn't they also have actual cards or something?
Don't know.
But I think they did. I think it was also a trading card game too, and then disappeared. But like that, like considering Disney already owns Marvel, which is already with Upper Deck, like
there's a lot of things that could happen there.
So I think they should look into those.
I want a Moogle game.
I mean, see, like that's the thing. Like you can name all these different.
Yeah. Just
so I think they have the property and intellectual to make a wide variety. I just think trading card games aren't the way to go maybe outside of Japan.
I would love like a boss monster style based on like the original Final Fantasy, pixel art and stuff. That would be cool.